Welcome back to another edition of the Parking Lot Preview. Matt Ford-Wellman, Tym Brown, Mike Najarian. We're back another game. We're playing Y-D for the second time. Hawks lost the first one on a walk-off. Almost came back, almost their first comeback win. Hyannis almost had a chance. Well, I'd say almost had a chance last night, but they felt like they were in it for a minute there until the 3-run sixth.
Yeah,
And then the sixth run seventh.
Yeah, man.
We're not talking about that one, but Mike, can you give us a little recap on the last time these two teams played? What was that like?
Yeah, so it was expected to be one of the best games of the season so far, and it was. It was the West Division leader, Hyannis Harbor Hawks, the East Division leader, Y-D Red Sox, facing off in Yarmouth. It was a really fun game. The Hawks started in a 3-0 hole after Y-D broke through early in the game, but we saw really for the first time, we saw the Hawks bats start to come back. They scored 2 runs in the 5th. Stone Lawless hit a home run. In the 8th, Gabe Camacho tripled down the right field line, tied the game at 3, and then he scored on a sac fly the very next batter. It really felt like Hyannis was coming for, like you said, their first comeback win of the season. And then the 9th inning happened. After getting the first out, Ryan Speciak ran into a little bit of trouble. He walked the 8-hitter, the 9-hitter, doubled off the wall. After intentionally walking the bases loaded, it was a little bloop single into center field that really wasn't a play for anybody. The tying run had already scored by the time the ball landed, and the winning run was already around third base. It was kind of a deflating loss for the Hawks. But Mitch Carricker said after the game, close games like that, that's what makes baseball fun.
Before we get exactly into what Hyannis is going to bring today, Tym, I want to ask you. You've talked to Mitch Carricker a lot. All three of us have talked to Coach Carricker quite a bit. What's his message been to the team as of late with this kind of, I don't want to call it a losing streak, but this dip in success so far?
Well, I think he has done a really good job of recognizing that that's just baseball, right? People are going to have bad days. Sometimes those bad days sync up and the team has a bad day. The big thing is the team's going to keep chugging away. Mitch Carricker said he's going to work with the lineup a little bit, maybe move some guys around. But overall, this offense has had great production throughout the season, and you can expect that to continue. Just a couple bad games here and there, doesn't mean any kind of real trend is forming. The Hawks are still here. They're still the number 1 team in the West Division, and they'll figure it out no matter what.
Speaking of the number 1 team in the West Division, what is the number 1 team in the West Division bringing to the mound today? What are they going to start with? Who are we going to see in that first inning?
Yeah, so we got Richie Roman making the start today. This is going to be his second start and his 3rd total appearance. Has struggled so far in the Cape League. His last start was against Orleans, the 11-8 win for Hyannis. He pitched 4 innings, gave up 4 runs. It wasn't his best. Wasn't his best outing. Only struck out, I think, 2 guys, 2 hits and 2 walks as well. His first appearance was against Bourne on the road. He came in relief of Brett Landman. 3 innings pitched, gave up another. It was 3 or 4 runs. So he really has not had the best start to the summer. But I think what we've seen from Richie Rowan, because his strikeout numbers are low, is he's more of, like I've talked about Evan Blanco being a pitch-to-contact guy. I think Richie Roman is also more of a pitch-to-contact guy because of his low strikeout numbers. If he can keep Y-D hitting, ground balls right at infielders, get a weak fly ball or a line drive hit right at somebody, I think that's going to be what'll work best for him against a Y-D offense that really is potent. It's Y-D and Hyannis are the 2 offenses that are at the top of the Cape League in pretty much every statistical category. So if he can do a good job of limiting hard contact, I think we're going to see better chances of Hyannis getting a win tonight.
Hyannis is really going to be tasked with playing some dominant defense. They're going to have to field a lot of ground balls. They're going to have to make some plays in the gap. They're going to have to cut guys short of doubles. They're going to have to make some tough plays, some good throws all around. But that's kind of Cape Cod baseball. You got to play good defense if you really want to be successful. Tym, what's Hyannis going to bring in the box today? What are the Red Sox going to bring in the box today to take down Richie Roman?
Well, Matt, you mentioned cutting down people on doubles, limiting extra bases. I look at a guy, A.J. Soldra. He had an incredible season for Seton Hall in the Big East. He's hit 4 home runs so far in 13 games here with the Y-D Red Sox. That's the same total he had all spring at Seton Hall, and he really made more of his name in the Big East for his speed. He had 8 triples this season, 12 doubles. He's a real threat out there. Hyannis is going to want to keep him away from the base paths today in general, because He's just a threat out there. He's going to create havoc. He's a dangerous hitter.
Brody Briggs is going to have to kind of command the battery back there. He's going to have to play some good catcher today, as we've seen him do so far in the season. Can you talk a little bit about, what that base stealing pressure and what those throwdowns really mean to a team and to a defense coming into Hyannis? Brody's had a couple throws in there where it seems like it switched the innings. The pitchers have talked about it. What does that mean to an offense when you get, hosed at second, leadoff guy gets on, hosed at second?
Oh, it deflates your momentum completely. I mean, you feel like you have a chance to get a guy into scoring position there, and the catcher cuts him down. You feel like you get a good jump or whatnot. You feel like you're making the right play, and Brody Briggs can mess up an entire offensive sequence with one play. And we saw that a lot when Von Lackey was on the team. He was picking off runners at second base when we were get to it, and he was throwing down runners left and right, making incredible diving plays as the backstop. He was incredible. Briggs and Stone Lawless have kind of picked up where he left off, and they've been a great backbone of this team. And I'm excited to see Briggs do his work today against Y-D.
So give me a little bit more about what Y-D is going to bring on the mound today. Obviously, Hyannis has had kind of a habit of picking apart bad pitchers, or let's not even say bad pitchers, but pitchers not having their best day. Do you expect Hyannis is going to see someone not having their best day today? Are they going to see, someone without success, or is Y-D bringing someone who's kind of dealing so far?
Matt, Y-D's bringing their ace in here to face the struggling Hyannis Harbor Hawks at the moment, 0-2-1 in their last 3 games. And they've got Hunter Watkins. Hunter Watkins is 6'9". 6'9" right-hander out of Oklahoma State, transferred there, struggled a little bit, had a above 5 ERA with the Cowboys this season. Previously, he had a sub-4 ERA with Grand Canyon University in his freshman year. But now, since coming to the Cape, he's had a sub-1.5 ERA, and he's been just one of the best pitchers overall in the Cape League. Matt, let me nerd out here a little for a second. I have a direct MLB comparison to this guy, Bailey Ober, also 6'9", also throws a low 90s fastball, and also has elite extension due to his height. And similarly, in their pitch mix, Ober works with more of a sweeper and slider combination to have that, cutting across the zone motion a little more extreme with one pitch than the other. Saw that Watkins is now working on a cutter to kind of counteract his slider and get hitters buckling a little bit more. One thing that Ober has in his bag that, is a little hard for maybe Watkins to stick in there is a changeup that breaks 18 inches to the other side. So maybe a little bit less guessing done here for Hyannis hitters, but still a very dangerous guy on the mound and one of the best in the Cape League so far.
One of the big tricks you gotta adjust to as a hitter when you see a guy with a lot of extension there. You got to start early. You got to act like this guy's throwing, 95, 96, 97. Because that's what it's going to feel like. That extension takes off, maybe 5 inches on the arm there. You look at guys even, the other way. Chris Sale, they throw it to the side. Add 5 inches, left or right. That's really going to change the way a hitter sees it. Mike, how is Hyannis gonna beat this guy? Big Hunter.
Yeah, like Tim said, the Hawks offense definitely going to have their work cut out for them tonight. And it maybe not the best time considering the offensive struggles they are having. But, there are some guys I think that are really due for big games on the offensive side. We haven't really seen one from Brody Briggs yet. He's been pretty good behind the plate. Hasn't really had that big game yet. Guys like Ryan McKay's DHing tonight.
Cam Smith. We do not support the Astros.
Yeah.
But
that is former Hyannis Harbor Hawk Cam Smith. And that was Josh Shriver interrupting us for a second there. But getting back to my point here. Ryan McKay is DHing tonight. He had a really good game against Harwich 2 nights ago. No reason to think that won't continue tonight. Jackson Willits is in the lineup playing shortstop once again tonight. He was the only Harbor Hawks offense to speak of last night with a solo home run in the first inning. Andrew Williamson still in the lineup. He hits long balls like nobody's business. He's definitely someone you can't pitch lightly to. You gotta know where you're throwing it with Andrew Williamson, because if you make a mistake, it's probably gonna wind up over the outfield fence.
I would say one of the things the Harbor Hawks need to kind of dig into is the pitch count. A lot of swings early in counts for Hyannis, which is totally all great and dandy if you're getting on and getting hits and you're putting a lot of pressure on the defense, it's really demoralizing as a pitcher to go 3 pitches, 3 hits. That feels pretty bad on the inside there. Makes you feel like you got to say some special words to yourself to get you going there. Have a little talk with yourself on the mound, recompose, get back out there.
Well, what were your special words when you were on the mound?
No, we can't talk about that. Usually it was a lot of self-thought, a lot of motivational, you're great, you can do this. Little, like action items, go, attack. Then you'd walk a guy, you'd have to tell yourself some different things.
Okay.
Maybe that you're not so great. But you recenter at the end of the day. I think that the Harbor Hawks could dig in some at-bats. They've been so good at walking and so good at getting on base, taking those free 90 feet, moving on pass balls, moving at balls in the dirt. They've found ways into scoring position that weren't just doubles and triples. And I think that Hyannis getting back to those roots will definitely ground them. It'll make it, harder on pitchers. They might be able to get, Big Hunter out of the game here. If he throws 70 pitches in the first 3 innings, that's a victory for Hyannis. Even if you go scoreless, that's a moral victory. It means you get to see the bullpen, get to see some more pitchers. Fellas, I think it's about time we talk about some predictions here.
Let's do it.
So, Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, obviously the walk-off loss to Y-D, that one kind of stung a little bit.
Yeah.
For sure. They were looking to win 3 straight games and sweep the weekend. Instead, they go home with a loss. But that was on the road. We're at McKeon Park now. We're at our house. I think the Hawks, they haven't had the best record at home so far, but I think they want to do better at that. I think the tables are going to turn on Y-D. I think we're going to see a Hyannis walk-off victory today.
Whoa. That's the first.
That's the first called walk-off.
Yeah, we're going to see a walk-off victory today.
Whoa.
And give me the same score. Give me the same score too. Give me 5-4. Hyannis walk-off victory.
Wow. Who's hitting it?
Who's hitting it?
Yeah. Give me the situation. Let's try it out. Let's go.
I think
we have to call it out.
I think it's going to be a tie game.
Okay.
I think we're going to have runners on first and second.
Okay.
1 out.
Okay.
Yep.
I think we're going to have Andrew Williamson at the plate.
Oh, okay.
I think he's gonna line a base hit up the middle, and I think Jeff Lugie, I forget how the lineup is
I would have confirmed that right now.
constructed
Actually.
right now, but
Would most likely not be Jeff Lugie. It would most likely be Jackson Willits.
Okay.
If I had to be completely honest, which is not a bad option. He gets on base a lot.
He does
likely
get on
to find
base.
himself at second base.
I think Williamson's gonna get the game-winning hit, but I don't know that it's gonna be enough to dethrone my player of the game pick, which is Jeff Lugie.
Yeah.
Newer to the team. He's only played in a couple games so far, but I've liked what I've seen from him at the plate. He played against Y-D on Sunday. Had himself a solid game, Tim. You were there too. You saw that with me. I think Jeff Lugie is going to go deep before the walk-off hit.
Nice.
I think it's going to be. I think he'll have 2 or 3 RBIs.
Nice.
But Jeff Lugie, player of the game, 5-4 Hyannis walk-off victory. I'm calling it.
Well, I don't know how.
You got something better than that? Yeah.
I can't have something better than that. There's a shutdown pitcher on the mound today.
Yeah.
And we're really hoping for Richie Roman to piece his season back together as he struggled a little bit up to this point. If we want that, I'm saying it's going to be a low score. I'm fighting the trends again.
He's bucking the trends.
It's hard to see a high scorer here. I mean, 5-4 isn't anything ridiculous, obviously, but give me a 3-2 Hyannis win.
Okay.
Not in walk-off fashion. We see some clutch pitching here. Most likely Ryan Speciak. Big save Spesh, as we love to call him here.
Yes.
And I'm going to take Jackson Willis. There was no one on the team who made it to second base yesterday. Yeah. Outside of a home run. Jackson Willis gets on base so much, there's no way he doesn't in base, right? I'm going to take Jackson Willis to be on base 4 times today. 2 walks, 2 hits.
Okay.
I'm not saying those hits are going to be anything explosive. Give me a pair of singles all day. Matt, he gets on base. We're playing some money ball out here.
No, guys, these are a lot of great game stories that I think would be very fun to write. But honestly, you talk about trends. I think it's a little hogwash. I think you gotta lean in here. I'm calling a big scorer here. I'm calling a battle for the ages. I'm calling 9